So, y'all, I'm on my way to North Charleston, South Carolina. And I wanted to come on here and try to quickly deal with why I detest the LGBTQ, black LGBTQ community. Understand that I'm saying the black LGBTQ because I understand that the white cave LGBTQ are just caves. They just caves, they just happen to be gay, right? They just happen to be homosexual, transsexual, whatever they're choosing here. So they just caves. So I'm just dealing with the black LGBTQ and why I detest that community. Now, what the LGBTQ has been able to do is call anybody who calls them out on their behavior homophobic. That's what they've been able to do. That is the games that they've been able to play. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, that's not going to work on me. I'm not going to come back at no point and apologize for what I feel, what I see, and my mentality about this. Now, many people will run down on the LGBTQ based on their religious beliefs. Y'all know that I don't have any religious beliefs, so therefore I'm not going to run down on the LGBTQ based on that. What I'm going to run down on the LGBTQ community for is their pridefulness and their sellout behavior. What you'll notice if you look out here at the LGBTQ community, you'll see them being led by cave LGBTQ. You'll see them divide up and go support what would be gay rights. And what the black LGBTQ community is an understanding is that the fight is for their blackness first, second, and third. Because they don't see this, they will go stand with the caves and fight for what they deem as gay rights, completely ignoring the fact that they're black. The only time they focus on their blackness is to talk about the trauma that the black community caused them due to their sexuality. Outside of that, they don't focus on their blackness. This is treason, if you ask me. We've all, regardless of sexuality, been hurt or had some traumatic experiences with our own community. I have as well. Does that mean I'm going to be used against my people based on that trauma or based on that hurt and that pain? Absolutely not. The only time they talk about their blackness is to scold black people for not accepting them. And that's the only time. They allow their emotions to be used and pulled the same way that the white feminist movement used black women. It's the same thing. And to me, it's treason. Because what you have to understand that we have a very specific struggle, the black struggle. No one is checking with you for your sexuality. They're killing our people, not only just the cops, as we deal with us being murdered for selling loose cigarettes, allegedly using counterfeit 20s, jogging, existing, essentially. They're finding now more black people being lynched. They're not checking for your sexuality when these things are happening. This justice system that allows the caves to conduct themselves this way with impunity is not checking for your sexuality. And because you don't see that, and because you're too prideless to see that, because you're too focused on the pain, the hurt, and the trauma that you may have been caused due to your sexuality, you allow yourselves to be used against your people. This is not about who you lay with. It's about who you stand with. And when I look out here and I see who you stand with, it is movements that are used to distract the focus on the fact that America, 3Ks, don't get this shit fucked up, Incorporated, is against you based on your skin. You refuse to see that America, 3Ks, don't get this shit fucked up, Incorporated, is against you unifying. Not based on your sexuality, based on your blackness. You refuse to see that. This government has used every measure to keep black people separate based on our blackness. They don't mind you unifying based on your sexuality, based on you being a woman. They don't mind that. You can have your gay rights movements. You can have your feminist movements. They don't mind that. They're not going to create a COINTELPRO to come dismember. That's not the issue. As long as you and your sexuality is over there in the caves fighting with them for gay rights, as long as the woman, even the black woman, is over there fighting for women's rights, that takes you away from the focal point of your blackness. And thus, you won't be a threat. That's just what it is. You're not a threat. I'm seeing disgraceful behavior from the LGBT community. The other day I posted on my Instagram, there were 2 homosexual black men that were at a protest, the Black Lives Matter, protesting for what would be supposedly the treatment of black people here in America. 3Ks don't get this shit fucked up, Incorporated. Now, we understand that Black Lives Matter is an anti-black organization. We understand that. If you don't believe me, you can just go read their mission statement on their website. This was started by 3 homosexual black women. Again, LGBTQ allowing themselves to be used against black people to minimize the black experience. I've explained this in depth. I won't go back into it here. But they were out here in the streets twerking. Right? Twerking. And I saw this, and it's just disgraceful that every movement that we try to have, every piece of seriousness that we try to have, is taken away by displays of behavior such as this. Now understand, I'm not saying this just because they're homosexual, because we have to be honest and say on the other side of the spectrum, I posted a video of a black woman twerking ass out at a Black Lives Matter rally, sitting there in front of the fucking all the cops and just sitting there twerking it up. Disgraceful. Now, she, heterosexual, still displaying that prideless, coonish behavior. So understand, LGBTQ, you're not going to be able to say this is no homophobic rant, because this is a rant about or against your coon-ass behaviors. Your anti-black behaviors. How you are using, your behaviors are used to distract from the big picture. To distract from what's important. Again, it's not who you laying with. It's who you're standing with. And what you're allowing your actions and your behaviors to do. How you allow your voice is to be used to minimize and even disrespect the black struggle, as you claim that the struggle for you to be free in your sexuality is the same as the struggle that black people are having to endure to gain our freedom here in this country and all over the world. That's disgraceful. And that's why I hate you. Has nothing to do with who you're laying with, because I wouldn't care if you were a heterosexual, because there are heterosexuals out here, and y'all know we tout this number over here. 99% of black people are prideless, self-hating coons. Sellouts. Heterosexual or otherwise. That's just the facts. There are many heterosexuals that would call themselves sticking up for homosexuals. They got a gay cousin, sister, brother. And so they can't call out and refuse to call out the prideless behavior and how these groups are being used against black people. How we divide ourselves up. Want to call the strong black man toxic. Because what they want to do is minimize the warrior class. Whether that be the warrior in the black man or the warrior in the black woman. Because oftentimes when we talk about the warrior class, we make it very specific to just black men. And I understand, based on studying our history all over the world, that that's not the case. The black woman has a warrior spirit as well, and it's been displayed so many times on our behalf throughout history. That's just the facts. But they want to minimize this, confuse this warrior energy, to have the heterosexuals in our communities feel like we're doing the homosexuals a favor by not calling out their sellout ass behaviors. I won't be guilted into such. I won't be shamed into such, because I see what's going on. When we divide ourselves up, that weakens us. That's why the LGBTQ, black LGBTQ community being standing in these gay rights circles, that's why that's not a problem. Because with the way white supremacy gonna look at it, the way the caves is looking at this thing as well, that's more division. The black feminist, more division. There is no focus. Some would argue that the LGBTQ community is more organized than the pro-black community, or the the communities that will be fighting for our common goals, our common cause, and that's to be able to be black without being murdered, to be able to be black without being mistreated, minimized, and treated as subhuman. Some would argue that they're more organized, and what I would argue is, no, it's not that they're more organized, they're just not a threat. And thus America isn't going to come out and target them and try to dismantle them. They aren't more organized. And I won't allow even the pro-black conscious community to continue to say that. They're not more organized, they're not a threat, and thus they're able to organize without being disrupted, because they're not a threat. And they don't see that because they put their sexuality first, which is a direct act of treason around here. See, I don't hate you for your sexuality. I hate you because you can't see this shit. You can't see how you're being used. You won't even deal with the racism that exists within the LGBTQ community. Because we know that the caves, they're racist no matter what. Now, they may have a rainbow painted inside their little cave, but they're still racist towards you. You weren't redlined because of your sexuality. You weren't tarred and feathered because of your sexuality. You didn't have crosses burning in your yard because of sexuality. You weren't made to go into the back door. You weren't made to drink out of different fountains. And doing otherwise would be a crime. You weren't mass incarcerated because of your sexuality. But you will still be so fucking disgraceful as to say that your struggle is the same. The black LGBTQ are a prideless group. But overall, our people are a prideless group, and we don't know how to separate our trauma. Many coons are created from trauma. The bad experiences that they've had within the black community, and thus they allow themselves to be used to divide up and weaken the black community. Many self-haters are spawned from this very pain. And the fact, you couple that with the fact that we're not being raised to have any pride whatsoever, which causes us to inflict so much trauma on each other. And well, you got 99% who weren't able to see past their trauma and pain to the big picture. And this is why I hate black LGBTQ. It's because of who you're standing with. And you haven't looked around yet and found a problem with that. You don't see an issue with that. And you expect people to be guilted into letting you off the hook. You want to sit around and call everybody homophobic. You want to talk about other people not understanding. Using those shaming tactics, and they have worked in your favor. But they won't work on me. They won't work on us over here. Because my disdain for you has nothing to do with your sexuality. Everything to do with you being prideless, being a traitor, and committing so many acts of treason. And to the ones that are saying, well, not all gay people act like that. Black homosexuals. I don't see them being vocal enough, speaking out against this very treason. I don't see them doing that work enough. It's almost like the argument for the good cops, 3Ks, the good caves. I don't see them enough speaking out against this very mentality that allows for the homosexual community to be used against black people. So for those 3 or 4 that may put their blackness first, y'all not being loud enough. You're not being vocal enough. If you exist in such large number, then you would be vocal about it. You would be able to really condemn this behavior that the black LGBT community displays at all times. Their prowessness is on display at all times. And I hate them for it. But understand that I hate heterosexual, prowess black people the exact same. So, you won't be able to shame me into acting like I'm targeting you. You're being used. And you're allowing yourself to be used against your people. So, that's all I want to say, y'all. I wanted to come in here and deal with that and give my perspective on that. Again, it's not about who you lay with. It's about who you're standing with. And y'all always, the black LGBTQ, you're always standing against your own people. That's what you do. And yes, I hate your ass for it. Call me whatever you want. I'm not going to be apologizing now, in the near future, ever in my life, because this is what I see. This is what I believe. So, y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Links to follow me on social media in the description box. Black first, second, and third. And we don't do traitors. We don't do people that are dividing up our own people amongst ourselves, making us weaker. If you can't see the big picture, we don't do you. We don't fuck with you. And that mentality that has you more focused on who you laying with as opposed to you standing with your people. That's what we hate you for. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.